In this video, we're going to show you a tip when bringing images into your Formstack Documents using the Formstack Documents Airtable app. Let's dive in. Okay, to start, I just want to give you a little peek at our Formstack document. This is the document that we are creating. We've got our photos that we are going to show, a rectangular photo. There could be up to 6 of them. And then we've got name, title, phone number, email, pretty straightforward stuff. So we've got a grid effectively of 6 people. That's what we're trying to create, or that is the guts of our Formstack document. Now, one of the things that I've done is I've shown our field map. That's going to be important. So if you haven't already, you go to your settings, advanced settings, and then use field map for custom integrations. You'll also want to tick the box that says save data to remerge or download later. This is going to allow us to kind of debug and see what's going on. So once you do that and you save those, you'll get a new tab that says field map that we'll come back to in a second. And then in the overview, you will also start to see your data showing up. And so you can view the data that's coming in. Okay, so I've created a very simple Airtable that just has 6 people listed out, and it's got their name that I choose from. It's actually a synced base. So we've got their name, their photo, and then their role. I actually have a bunch of hidden fields where I've got their title and their email and their phone number. I'm not showing any of those right now in this base, but those are all going to get pulled through into my Formstack document as well. So I've got 3 of the 6 people filled out. They're all me. But what I do is I click create. I've got a button in there. I've got to click create, and then I click on service team sheet and I create my document. Now, what's really cool about Formstack Documents and their Airtable app is they will save the attachment right into a field. So it's really cool. Now, one of the fields I have set up, and you actually can't, you'll see that there's an error on it. The other 2 I've fixed. So if we look at this page here, you'll see that 2 of my photos are showing up correctly, and the other photo is not. And so originally none of them were showing, and so I debugged, and that's what we're going to show you now. So if you've got a situation where your images aren't showing up, try this little tip. Go into your overview. We'll see this here. I'll refresh this actually. So the data that came through is this Kyle's team. I'm going to view the data. And if we go to photo 1, we're going to see I've got a bunch of stuff in here. And that's because Airtable is actually passing through like an array or an object. It's more than just the URL, but all we need is that URL for the photo. So what we need to do is figure out a way to just grab the URL. So what we can do is in our field map, photo 1 is coming through. That is the data that's coming through for that photo. So I'm going to modify that data when it comes in. And the way that I'm going to modify it, I'm just going to copy this here. I'm going to say that I'm just going to get rid of this for now, the extra bits, because I want to show you how this works. So basically what I'm doing is I'm saying when the information for photo 1 gets passed into Formstack Documents, before it gets merged into the document, the field map is going to modify it. And what parse URL does is it says, find me the URL that's inside of the data. And so I'm going to send it photo 1, and then I'm going to look for the data. And that's what this parse URL is. So now I save the field map. And if I come back and if I do this again, so I'll actually delete this one and I will create my service team sheet again. We're going to see it's actually not going to work, but what's important is why, and I'll show you why. So the photo still isn't showing up. So if I come back to Formstack Documents, I go to my overview. I can see here was the team that I just tried to create. So if I view that data and I go to photo one, now I've got what looks to be more of a URL. So the parse was working. It took that whole object and now it just found the URL. The problem is at the very end of this URL, there's this parentheses at the very end of the URL, and that's causing the error. I want to take that off, because if I were to grab this and just put this and check what that link is, that's me. That's my photo. So I know that URL, this one is right. I just need to get that parentheses off the end. So we need to modify that field map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stack these modifiers. I'm going to throw another pipe on the end of the parse URL. And now effectively what I'm doing is let me zoom in here. I'm saying photo one, I'm looking for that URL. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace anytime I see this close parentheses, which is at the end and is making my URL not valid. Anytime I see that close parentheses, I'm going to replace it with nothing. I'm just going to effectively delete it. So we've got this replace function. Now, you've seen that how I did that, where I could save this, I could go back, I could retest. Well, what I found is, depending on the name of the file, if I included the file extension and whatnot, I was actually, in some situations, I was getting an additional quotation, double quotes, at the end of my URL string as well. So now I wanted to not only delete any parentheses that we find, I want to also delete any double quotes. So I've just stacked another modifier on the end, and I basically have said, you can see here by my cursor, replace any double quotes with nothing. So I've effectively stacked. I'm taking the data that's being passed in as photo one. I'm looking for the URL, and then I'm stacking on another modifier with this pipe. I'm adding the pipe, and then I'm saying replace any parentheses with nothing, and then stacking another modifier with a pipe and saying replace any double quotes with nothing. If you get into yours and you're parsing your URL and you see some weird character that's causing the string, the URL string to break, you could replace that as well. You could just add another modifier on the end and then replace it, and effectively replace it with nothing. So once I do that and I have my modifier, my field map all set up, then when I come back in, I'll delete this. When I come back in and create my sheet, we can see that now my photo should show up, and it should show up exactly, right? It's showing up right where I would expect it to, just like the others. So that's the little tip, is get your field map to show up, parse the URL, and then replace any characters that are causing the URL to break. You can do that by stacking these modifiers. Hopefully that makes sense and that solves some of your problems. The Formstack documentation for their Airtable app recommended using a slightly different way of doing it, where you kind of zeroed in on the object and you've tried to find the URL. That didn't work for me. I tried it. It didn't work. A thing to note as well about this is this will only work if you have one image. If you have multiple images in there, it's going to break because it's looking for URLs. It might just look for the first URL. Maybe it's going to return multiple URLs, but it won't work if you have multiple images. So There's a few things to try. You could try the Formstack way in their documentation. You can try this. There's a few other ways, but this is what finally solved it for me. Hopefully that tip was helpful, and you now have another way to troubleshoot if your images aren't showing up in your Formstack documents using the Formstack Documents Airtable app. So with that, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and we will see you at the next tutorial.